I have made it very clear here on Jets Media that I am very high on the Ole Miss quarterback Jaxson Dart for the 2025 NFL Draft. And we just found out recently that the Jets are also high on Jaxson Dart. We heard from ESPN's Rich Cimini talk about it. We also heard from Rick Spielman, who just got hired as the New York Jets senior advisor. Now, Rick Spielman was talking about Jaxson Dart on a CBS podcast right before he got offered the full-time job to be the New York Jets senior advisor. This was while he was helping the Jets, find Aaron Glenn, find Darren Muji. So this was right before he got hired. So we get a good idea of what Rick Spielman, the lead of the football operations, thinks of the prospect of Jaxson Dart. I'm going to break down everything you need to know about Jaxson Dart in this video. The good, the bad, the ugly, what you can be excited about, what are concerns about Jaxson Dart, where he can go in the NFL draft, and more specifically, should the New York Jets take a flyer and draft him? You guys let me know in the comments your thoughts of Jaxson Dart. Would you want the Jets to draft him? What do you like about him? What are you concerned about him? And also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe right here to Jets Media. Let's get straight into the video. So the first thing I want to break down is Rick Spielman talking about Jaxson Dart. He was at the Senior Bowl down in Mobile, Alabama, and so was I. I actually got to see Jaxson Dart practice at the Senior Bowl and got to interview him as well, which was a lot of fun. But the Jets senior advisor, Rick Spielman, had a lot of interesting things to say about Jaxson Dart. And just note this as well. He said these things on record before the Jets hired him. So he's allowed to talk about prospects. He didn't know idea he was going to be part of a football organization until Woody Johnson and the Jets offered him the full-time job. So let's get into what Rick Spielman had to say, because he is a big part of this Jets organization now. He says, quote, "I like Jaxson Dart a lot. It looks like the position comes naturally to him, which is important. I came away impressed. I'm going to say this," Spielman said, "I don't know if there's another first-round quarterback after the first two, but the way Bo Nix started to surge last year coming out of the Senior Bowl, I would not be surprised if Jaxson Dart ends up in the first round." Now, let's not forget Darren Muji is coming from the Denver Broncos organization who drafted Bo Nix that nobody really saw coming, and I'm also on record to mention that Bo Nix should be on the Jets' radar last year. A lot of people hated on me for it, but I liked Bo Nix a lot coming out of Oregon more than most. But I feel like you look at what Jaxson Dart did at the Senior Bowl and you look at what he's really good at, I personally think he's a very intriguing target. And the fact that Rick Spielman said these things on him was really intriguing. And now I want to play a clip of Rick Spielman talking about Jaxson Dart. Take a listen.
There is more and more love on Mr. Dart down at Ole Miss. The reason is everybody's done the film, but what I'm hearing is because of the toughness and, that game he played with through the sprained ankle. I guess people are going to learn this through the pre-draft process. The intangibles are going to be off the charts.
So he talked about his intangibles, his toughness, and those are the types of things you need to be able to see at the college level to translate to the NFL. I feel like one narrative that is getting thrown around about Jaxson Dart that I'm just going to talk about right here is everybody keeps saying he's Zach Wilson 2.0. I mean, I don't know why you would assume that. Is it because they're both from Utah and they both wear number 2? Is that the reason for it? I mean, the biggest difference between Jaxson Dart and Zach Wilson, in my opinion, is Dart played at the SEC. He played against tough competition where BYU, they played nobody. And that was the big narrative around Zach Wilson, is he had no big competition in college. That's not the case for Jaxson Dart. He went up against really big schools, LSU, I mean, you name it. He went up against really, really good opponents. I know there's one bad game he had against Florida, which a lot of people are talking about. Like, look what Jaxson Dart did. He crumbled under pressure, was throwing interceptions. I get all that. He's not a perfect prospect, of course, but there's a lot of things that I feel like personally translates to the next level in his game. So I want to talk about these analytics that Austin put out there on X that I find very, very interesting. So here are Jaxson Dart's advanced analytics. He was 11.9 average depth of target, 7.1% big time throw rate, 10.7 yards per attempt. They were all better than Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders. The most impressive part, Jaxson Dart accomplished this while having less time to throw than them. So obviously this is not saying that Dart is better than Ward and Sanders, but what this does tell you, and my personal favorite about the game of Jaxson Dart, is that he throws the ball down the field with efficiency. He is not afraid to let it rip. He plays with a lot of confidence. He likes to step back and plant his back foot and deliver that thing vertically down the field. And in today's NFL, I think that is exactly what the Jets need, especially with the Detroit Lions offense getting implemented here. You think of the Lions offense, with Jared Goff, he throws that ball deep down the field a lot. He stretches the ball vertically, of course, setting up the pass game with the run attack, the play action, and I feel like he fits the mold of what the new NFL is trying to become, a pass-heavy league. Now, another part of Jaxson Dart's game that I personally love is his improvisation ability, escaping pressure, his ability to move around the pocket, make throws on the run. You can see in this clip right here, Jaxson Dart rolling to his left, squaring his hips, and let it fly and make an absolute dart of a throw, no pun intended. And of course, the big throw that he had last season in Ole Miss is this throw right here. And I guess some people see this throw and like, oh, see, it's Zach Wilson all over again. I mean, listen, Zach Wilson made this throw in the pro day. Jaxson Dart did this in a game, okay? Fading away, throwing this ball deep down the field. I mean, that is just an absolute beautiful throw there. Absolutely love to see that. So those are some of the positives I'm taking away from Jaxson Dart. Another thing about him that I love is his confidence. I feel like he really just has a sense of belief. Somebody asked him at the Senior Bowl, what would your thoughts be about going to New York, right? And are you afraid of the new city? He's like, I'm not afraid of the city of New York.
New York kind of guy? I mean, New York is not for everybody, you know?
No, I'm not scared of the big city. Not at all. I've loved New York, visited there a lot growing up, so you know, honestly, that's not even back in my mind. I think it's a great organization and love to play for them.
I don't know if somebody asked him more about the Giants because his connection with Eli Manning, but he did mention New York, and he did say, I'm not afraid of the bright lights. I would love to play in a high-pressure moment. And the fact that he has that confidence, I absolutely love that. Now, some of the things that people are worried about with Jaxson Dart that you have to mention is I think he plays in a very vanilla offense at Ole Miss, a lot of RPOs, and people say it's too simple, right? Is he going to be able to translate to the next level and play in a pro-style offense? Now, that is very reasonable to talk about. And I think the thing about Jaxson Dart, when I look at him, it's not somebody I think is going to be able to play week one as a rookie and thrive. I think he may need to sit and learn behind a veteran quarterback, whether it's for half a season or for a full season. For that reason alone, his ability to process the field is yet to be seen, because at Ole Miss, they really play a lot of, simplistic type of things, vanilla offenses, RPOs, not a lot of pre-snap recognition, not really taking a lot of snaps under center, of course. So he's going to have to adapt into an NFL pro-style offense, and that's the one thing that I definitely noticed. When you look at Jaxson Dart, all the positives, and you weigh all the negatives, is he going to be able to translate? Is he going to be able to process the field? Because let's be honest, folks, that's the most important piece of the quarterback position. You can be super talented physically. You can have the arm talent. You can have the athleticism. You can be physical. You can do all those things, but can you process the field? Can you make the right decisions? And that is something that Jaxson Dart is going to have to prove to be able to do it. Now, the one thing about his decision-making that I've learned, he's not afraid to let it rip, which I love. His confidence is through the roof when he's on the field, and when he plants his back foot and just delivers that thing, it is an absolute seed of a ball. So that is definitely something you got to look at. When you talk about his athleticism, now, is Jaxson Dart the most athletic player? Does he have any sense of mobility? He's 6'2", 225. He's not your Josh Allen in terms of physically running the football, but I've noticed in watching the film, he's more of a physical runner than he is juking you out of your shoes, and I like that. He likes to embrace contact. I mean, he's somebody that will lower his shoulder and not afraid of contact when tucking the ball and running. He can pick up the first down with your legs. He's not going to outrun you. He's not going to beat you with speed. He's not going to outpower you like a Josh Allen would. I think he's a right in between. He can make people miss behind the line of scrimmage to extend plays with his legs. He's not afraid of contact. So I think his mobility is not his best strength, but it's also not a weakness. He can move. He does have some athleticism that I certainly like. So I feel like when you look at it from the New York Jets perspective, where could he go in the NFL draft? Will the Jets be smart to draft him at pick number 7? Right now, that seems like a complete overdraft. Jaxson Dart going in the top 10 seems absolutely ridiculous. I do think that when the draft combine comes and the pro days start happening, then we're going to hear more about where Jaxson Dart's projected to go, because as of right now, we have no idea. My personal perspective of Jaxson Dart, currently recording this video, and where the draft status is, I think the Jets would be smart, if they want to draft Jaxson Dart, is draft somebody at number 7, best player available, whoever the case may be, and then trade back into the back end of the first round if he falls to like the 20 range, 25, and maybe package your early second round pick and some future picks, trade back into the first round and draft him there. Or maybe he falls to you in the second round. You can draft him at right there at pick 42 or 43, whatever pick we have in the second round. That would also work. I'm not going to sit here and push the idea of the Jets should draft him at pick number 7, but you never know. We saw Bo Nix surge up draft boards after the Senior Bowl and after the Combine, and Jaxson Dart seems like the consensus third quarterback behind Ward and Sanders. So that's my analysis and my thoughts of Jaxson Dart. I feel like someone like him, bringing that presence of confidence and aura and ability to push the ball down the field, he has a lot of tools that I feel like with proper coaching could get molded into a franchise quarterback. Now, of course, there's no guarantee that he's a franchise quarterback. The Jets have drafted, I mean, a laundry list of guys that's failed here in New York, but I absolutely love that he is embracing the idea of being in a big market like New York City, pushes the ball down the field, has a lot of aggression, has elite arm talent. I mean, he can make that thing fly, and just such a natural thrower of the football. And I feel like you weigh the positives with the negatives. I think the Jets would be smart to take a flyer on Jaxson Dart, but we shall see. And it seems like the Jets are interested. So you guys let me know in the comments your thoughts of the Ole Miss quarterback, Jaxson Dart. And don't forget to hit the like button as well. I will see you guys in the next video, and let's go Jets. Peace.